the Made in Apigee community. This is the community for Apigee. This is the first time that we are delivering a session in English. Hopefully, it's not going to be the last time, but just the first one in a lot of sessions that we hope to have. It's pretty much the volunteers that we are having. Every time we are saying that the community is open to all the people that want to participate here. If you have something interesting to say, you have something interesting that you want to share, please contact us, and we are more than happy to organize a session for you and to generate content. The only thing is that all of this content is going to be uploaded into the community, into the YouTube channels. So please be aware of that. We can share this with all of the people. And now I'm going to pass the word to Leanne and Ori. The idea for this is to have some highlights of how we can modernize our mainframes or legacy systems in a really easy way with OpenLegacy. So for this, we have from legacy systems to digital products, the solution. As I told you, I'm going to pass the word to Leanne and Nori.
Thank you so much, Luis. And thank you, everybody, for having us here today. It's really our pleasure. I'm going to share my screen in just about a second. And Luis, please let me know if you can see.
Yep, we can see it.
Awesome. Thank you. So once again, it's a pleasure meeting you, everybody. What a great community. And we thank you very much, Luis and team, for inviting us to kind of showcase how we can help digitalize and modernize some of those legacy assets together with OpenLegacy and Apigee, all powered by APIs and hybrid integration. My name is Leanne Silver. I'm based in Tel Aviv. I'm heading our tech alliances globally. And with me, I have Ori Bar. Ori?
Yeah, thank you, Leanne. So I'm Ori Bar. I'm based in Denmark, and I'm leading our combined organization of customer success and pre-sales.
Good. So today we will go over who and what is OpenLegacy, the OpenLegacy and Apigee partnership, how can we help with digital transformation, some use cases, and of course, Q&A. Please, this is a community, so you should not wait for the Q&A till the end. We will open up for a discussion, but however, if you do have any type of question during the session, by all means, pick up your hand and let's address it. So who is OpenLegacy? In a nutshell, we are a cloud-native integration platform for core and legacy systems. So what OpenLegacy is specializing is actually solving for the last mile of integration. How can you generate APIs and digital services from complex, monolithic, on-prem, heavy legacy systems? The more complex, the more exotic, the older, the better the product shines. We're pretty much a global company at this point. We've started global sales around 8 years ago. We have headquarters across all major regions in the globe. As you can see from a traction perspective, we do serve the top, I would say, Fortune 500, Global 2000 companies of the world, which were not born on the cloud, meaning that they have a legacy systems footprint in their infrastructure. Our main gravity is financial services and insurance, but not just. We are serving retailers, manufacturing, telecommunications around the globe, especially since COVID times where everybody were under pressure to digitalize. So OpenLegacy and Apigee for digital transformation. We will start maybe with a baseline. So what is a legacy system, or what does OpenLegacy consider as a legacy systems? It's mainly outdated computer software or databases systems that are still in use. These systems are actually meeting what they were required or designed to do. They just have a very limited growth efficiency in terms of how they play well with the digital ecosystem. It's a very closed infrastructure. And the main challenge with it is basically interacting with other parts of the ecosystem that the IT has. They are monolithic at the way they were designed, and they're lacking some agility. They're super reliable, they're valuable to the organization, but they are highly complex to integrate with and interface with. And usually you would see them on some sort of a modernization or transformation path, and we will talk about it. What you can see here on the left side is what we consider as legacies, very, very old, big, complex SAP installations, Oracle of many sorts, JDE, some core banking, core insurance, IBM mainframe, CICS, IMS, Power Platform, which is IBM I, AS400, Tandems, Unisys, some very, very complex old databases like VSAM and so on and so forth. A lot of clients are asking us, or even prospects or the market, people that we are speaking within the ecosystem, where do you find those legacy systems? So actually, they are more common than anyone thinks. And again, we love those legacy systems. We do think that they operate in the best way they can. They are doing the best job that it was designed to do. It just does not play well with others. And the reality is that still 75 of the enterprise mission critical workloads and data is locked and running on those on-prem legacy systems. So they're, one, very, very common and much more common than anybody thinks. And second, are running the most important mission critical workloads and data in the organization. You can see 92 of the top 100 banks, 10 of the top 10 insurers, 18 of the top 25 retailers, and so on and so forth. And then we're talking about modernization. Everybody wants to do modernization. And we always ask, does your legacy system have a modernization strategy? And the reality is that it doesn't really matter, because from an integration standpoint, and you will understand in just a second, you would have to use integration in any shape or form of strategy that you chose. So if you chose a modernize in place strategy, which is keeping your legacy as is, a lot of clients are opting for that option. They want to keep their legacy, which is fine. It still would have to be able to innovate and talk to other applications in the ecosystems. And this is API driven. So you would still have to do API integration. If you're opting for a coexistence strategy, which is a hybrid strategy, a little bit of cloud, moving some functionality over there, some legacy on-prem will stay, a coexistence scenario would mean that you have to keep the communication between those modern cloud-native applications and those on-prem legacy assets. So that communication and seamless coexistence would have to be done by integration. And lastly is the organization that have decided to move to 100% cloud native way. That means that their legacy systems are in a phased migration path. In that phased migration path, you cannot stop innovating. Your clients will not wait 5 to 10 years until you finalize your 100% cloud native journey. In the meantime, you would still need to innovate. You would still need to adopt cloud native technology. In order for that to happen, you would have to use integration. And that's why we say it doesn't matter your modernization path, you would still need integration in order to modernize successfully. And that's where we are talking about what is basically digital excellence, being at the top of the digital cutting edge technology. It means that you are modernizing using integration. So from a survey that Gartner actually held, 64% of enterprises are saying that application and infrastructure integration is a major modernization issue of theirs. And to modernize, teams need to build those bridges between the new and the old. Those bridges are mainly based on API communication. So how do we solve for this problem? We're a hybrid integration platform. So basically you have the Apigee platform that is doing everything on the modern side, and then you have your OpenLegacy platform that is doing everything on the complex legacy on-prem side. And together, you're combining a hybrid integration strategy and using API-led digitalization. So you can instantly generate cloud-native services and work those workflows to have new application. You simplify the cloud adoption and the transition with hybrid digital services. So a digital service that on one end is talking to a on-prem legacy backend, and on one end, talking to a innovative new application. From that combination, you can generate a new digital offering. And lastly, is you build bridges to other software application, other SaaS application via integration. So basically, now that you want to adopt a new application, let's say a bank wants to adopt a new SaaS payment system. That payment system would require, most likely, information that resides on the mainframe, that resides on the legacy side. So in order to adopt that technology of payment very fast, you can power OpenLegacy plus Google Apigee integrations to actually do that automatically. So full end-to-end from the on-prem to the cloud, very, very fast and efficiently. So from here, I will move it over to Ori to do a bit of a deeper dive into the tech and how actually it works. So Ori, over to you.
Great, thanks, Lian. So it's kind of a very high-level picture showing how it works in real life. So it's starting from the bottom, or actually in the bottom you see some of our references, which are always interesting. But above the reference, you have some core systems. And core system can be many things. It can be legacy applications. It can be mainframe or AS400, all kind of legacy platforms. It can be different legacy databases. It can be other monolithic systems. What all these guys have in common is that we know how to parse and understand metadata from these systems, and we also know how to call this system from our microservices in runtime. Important to remember that OpenLegacy is actually a design time platform, right? So what we're doing, we know how to understand all kind of complex systems, and based on this understanding, we build and generate microservices. So when you generate, we get this layer in the middle, with actually a layer of microservices, and that's a combination. So if we look at Google integration or Google application integration, it's now able to do two things. It can talk to the old world using OpenLegacy microservices, and it can talk to a new world using the services this system exposed, Salesforce, ServiceNow, and new SAPs, and so on and so forth. And then we have this ESB/SOA middleware, which is crossed over. So actually what we're saying is, yes, we are doing some of the work of the ESB, but normally I wouldn't go to a customer, say, get rid of your ESB today and start using OpenLegacy. I think OpenLegacy can beautifully work side by side with what customer is already having. We have to remember that the transformation journey is very complex already. It can take 5, 7, 10 years. There are many, many things. Start to do the new and modern things using new technologies. Keep what you have in the beginning and start to phase out step by step, where Google application integration is actually going to replace a lot of this functionality on the longer term. How do we do what we do in a nutshell? So it's all starting from the left-hand side with exposing all kind of systems, databases, platform, and so on. We automatically parse or understand metadata, and that could be a copybook or COBOL or PL1 or assembler from a mainframe. It can be RPG or COBOL or PCMLs from AS400. It can be BAPI, business APIs from SAP, and so on and so forth. We automatically parse this system metadata, and we automatically generate what we call a module. A module is actually a clean and modern representation of, in case that I want to engage a specific functionality for my backend, for my legacy system, that's how I'm going to do it. This can be extended, so we can add some what we call internal API orchestration. So it's not about building a complex flow, but we can enrich the API to provide the full set of information. We can do some basic mapping, we can do some contracts, and so on. And once this is done, the customer or the partner can go ahead and generate this microservice and take it to deployment wherever they want to deploy it. So we have customers running on NTOS on-prem. We have customers generated the cloud functions. We have customers running on GCP in the cloud, and so on and so forth. The whole idea is that what we generate is actually agnostic. We're not telling the customer you're depending on OpenLegacy runtime. We're not telling the customer you have to deploy here, generate there, do that. We actually have many customers doing exactly the same deployment to multiple targets, and this way achieving better flexibility and scalability. We also have customers starting on-prem. Later on, they want to move to the cloud. What they're just going to do, they're going to regenerate exactly the same thing to a different deployment target. And that means that you have the full flexibility. Once it's deployed, OpenLegacy is taking a step back. You have a clean and nice microservice or cloud function, which is able to talk to the legacy on one side and expose a modern endpoint on the other side. This one is what we call paint your picture, is giving some ideas about what we're able to do. It's a partial list. But if we look on the left-hand side, you can see it's all kind of mainframes and IBMIs and all the SAP and Oracle and Micro Focus and different ERPs. J.D. Edwards on S400 is named specifically because it's particularly tricky. We have all kind of core banking system, core insurance, Unisys, vSAMs. We can work with screens, green screens, and so on and so forth. What all these guys have in common, we know how to parse and understand metadata, and based on that, we can generate our microservice or cloud functions. We can generate different things. So we really like no code, but we can also do low code in case that something needs to be enriched or extended. We can do full code, but full code is not so cool, right? So we're trying to avoid the full code. When we do low code, we can generate based on different languages, because we all know that Java versus .NET are two different religions. Some customer insist on something, we can do it. We have a lot of flexibility about the endpoint, so we can build REST, we can build Kafka, we can build SOAP, we can build files, and many other things. And we have some other options, so we can do other cool things such as reverse API. So we can actually enable mainframes to call APIs on the other side, on the open side. We can do COBOL to COBOL and so on. And the interesting part is also deployment. We can deploy wherever. So GCP, but also anything else a customer want to use, where they want to deploy. When we get to Google Application Integration, it's a cloud product. And very often a customer is going to go for an on-prem deployment. And this way we provide a safe and clear way to communicate between the on-prem to the cloud. If we look at the top initiatives in the market requiring integration, so I think the top initiative is actually not here. That's getting rid of the old stuff, right? So I want to modernize, I want to move to something new, I want to transform, and so on. But we see many other initiatives. So KYC is definitely a star. So KYC is really interesting. It's mandatory in many cases. We see a lot of regulatory compliance. That's where vSAM, for instance, very interesting. So how do we actually comply to regulatory requirements by exposing all kind of data and functionality from your legacy systems? We see all kind of agent optimization. We see personalization. We see all the trend about AI and ML, which actually require data. It requires some functionality, and that's something we can help to get from legacy systems, and so on and so forth. But in general, customers are trapped in these legacy systems. They want to get rid of them on one side, but they know that they're very, very valuable. So in many cases, they're going to go and actually hollow the core, right? They're going to identify the core functionality, keep it on their legacy system for the next many years, but start to move functionality step by step to the cloud. And that means they need to connect between the new stuff and the old stuff. And we can actually provide this bridge doing a bi-directional communication. Some of our use cases, very, very quickly. So Liberty Mutual, the US, so they wanted to automate the claims processing, an insurance company. We help them to do that by actually providing the API. They're able to orchestrate and actually streamline the claim process. We have Raiffeisen Bank. It's very, very interesting use case. So it's actually the need to comply to the instant payment requirements in the European Union. So all payments have to be processed 24/7 within a certain number of seconds. And many of the core banking systems are going to sleep every afternoon and evening due to the end of day processing. When your core banking is sleeping, you cannot approve payments. So with our technology, the bank actually developed what they call a stand-in. So it's a caching module, which is actually mastering the balance during off hours, approving payments. When a system is back up, it's returning the balance to the system. Very interesting. Many integration points, many microservices, amazing project. They're really happy. We have MetLife. MetLife have to comply to regulation in California. So actually, it's the right to be forgotten. And not to be forgotten, you have to know what to forget. And what to forget was actually saved in some complex vSAM files on the mainframe. We expose a vSAM file, and they can be processed from the open side and actually do what needs to be done. We have Aviva in Italy. In this case, they had a very complex and coupled system where as a presentation layer was tightly coupled with the business layer. And it was so coupled they cannot expose it to the outside. So we help them to generate API to split this. And based on that, they're able to do brokering. So now banks can actually sell Aviva insurance policies based on our APIs and technology. Legal & General, one of the largest insurance companies in the UK, they got hit heavily by the COVID, and the system was under massive load. So what they decided to do is to start by hollowing the core. So they identify what is the core functionality and started to move the non-core, such as document handling, claim handling, and all that to the cloud. And with our technology that generating APIs, they actually connect the core functionality on the mainframe to what had been moved to the cloud. And they're doing interesting deployment because they're both doing serverless and many other cool things. And we have Liberty Global. They were very, very dependent on their vendor. So every time they want to develop an API, it was actually a processing time between 2 to 8 weeks. And what they're doing now, they're actually hooking directly into their system and generating API automatically, cutting the vendor completely out of the loop and doing this within minutes and hours rather than weeks. And then we have Bank Leumi. Bank Leumi is actually one of the largest, the largest bank in Israel, and they have a concept which is based on our technology. They're saying from copybook to service in 5 minutes. So within 5 minutes, they can take a copybook from a mainframe, they can process it, and they can take it to exposure through RPG. 5 minutes versus days and weeks before we're having this. So they're very proud of it. They're telling everybody about it. There are many videos and stuff you can find different places, but that's really a differentiator. So this is speeding up by many, many tens of times, and we think it's a great story. And then we had a nice example we built together with Scott Holland, who is the product manager of application integration. That's actually showing the combination of the power of what integration can do together with OpenLegacy. In this case, it's actually an insurance example. So it's about the insurance claim, how to get approved. So we start actually by using an API generated by OpenLegacy, going to the IBMI, the S400, and using an open insurance API standard to get the claim information. So once the claim information is getting into application integration, there is a agent, the CSR, assessing the claim, understanding, okay, that's okay, can we accept this? In case it's rejected, it's going to initiate a mail to the customer saying, sorry, your claim is rejected. If it's approved, accepted, so application integration is going to trigger a calculation of the payment amount, and it's going to call an API to the core banking system running on a mainframe to initiate the payment to the customer. And that's based on a PSD2, which is the standard for banking in Europe. Once the payment has been made, it's going to send a confirmation mail to the customer, and the process is done. So actually, in the same process, we're combining both manual processing by an agent taken care of by application integration, but we also talk to two different legacy systems, both to the IBMI S400 to get the claim information from the core insurance system, and we also initiate a payment on a mainframe exposed API by PSD2, which is a banking standard. Very nice example, very, very interesting because we combine so many complex things together, but with our technology together, it's being made very simple. Lian, do you want to take this one?
Of course. So I think the main underlying value, if we think about it from a business standpoint, it's the economic impact of hybrid integration that we can do together. These numbers are based on real life studies and also a third party vendor that is evaluating the total economic impact of OpenLegacy. Of course, when you combine this with Apigee application integration, you should be expecting even further extreme numbers than what you see on the screens, because OpenLegacy does not deal with the modern layer and the orchestration layer and the complex, robust things that Apigee application integration does. So from real life studies, we can see at least 60% and above cost reduction, and at least 50% and above time reduction. You can expect payback ROI in 6 months, of course, at least 10 times accelerated time to market, 50% cost plus cost reduction, and the return on investment is around 350%. What we do is actually record how clients are doing that integration today, then record how they are doing it with OpenLegacy and compare between the two, as well as how they would do over 3 years, and then compare between the two, with and without. I think it's time for us to kind of move over to Q&A. So happy if anyone wants to open the camera, raise their hands, ask any questions. Between Luis, Ori, and myself, I believe we'll be able to accommodate any question that you may have.
Don't be shy. You can even ask in Spanish. We can translate for the team.
Exactly. This is a pilot. This is the first session in English. So by all means, feel free to bombard us in Spanish and we will answer.
Okay, so maybe I can ask something because I'm interested to know some. Which will be, for example, the future of OpenLegacy, including application integration? You can comment something about that or not yet?
Yes, definitely. So currently, OpenLegacy Hub is available on GCP Marketplace. So basically, clients that are adopting GCP already can use their cloud committed spend to purchase OpenLegacy and combine it together with the Apigee and application integration layer. However, in the future, and it's near future, hopefully, by I would say Q1, Q2 of next year, we will be embedded within the connectors menu under the Apigee platform. So that's coming up.
So basically, in a couple of, let's say, minutes, you can have an integration with a legacy system, right? Or not?
Yes, and it's correct for today and for the future. The only thing that is different is maybe a little bit the user experience. So then you can trigger everything that OpenLegacy does straight from the Apigee application integration platform, or basically move to OpenLegacy to do it. But in any case, this is correct comment. In seconds, you can enrich your legacy asset. You can import to Apigee or to application integration, whatever asset you would like using the OpenLegacy platform, and then combine it with the rest of the world and the ecosystem that the client has.
Okay, that's really nice. I don't know if someone else in the audience has any kind of question.
I maybe would like to comment just one thing about kind of how The Apigee application integration and OpenLegacy is positioning as opposed to the old way of doing integration, such as the ESP. I would say main things is first and foremost, from the OpenLegacy perspective, in combination with Apigee, OpenLegacy is not a runtime environment. So it's a design time tool. The notion behind our collaboration is to delayer the architecture as much as possible. If you are familiar with ESBs, they are built as layers on top of layers of integration. With Apigee application integration and OpenLegacy, basically, we're trying to do everything we can that if you want to get from point A, which is, let's say, the mainframe, to point B, which is, let's say, GCP, it would be as streamlined and as a straight line as possible. So then you do not have multiple proprietary runtime in the middle. So your API performance is the best you can achieve. That's very important. The second thing is that we together are non-intrusive to the legacy side, meaning we do not touch the legacy and we do not increase the technical debt in the legacy side. We don't generate more code on the legacy, more workload on the legacy. We're using smart caching, and we're doing everything that your legacy is kept in the best way it is, but it's available for the digital developer to leverage it in the modern ecosystem. So now basically your mainframe is available for any non-COBOL developer, non-legacy developer, all those new modern developers can actually reach those legacy assets and create new application, new business requirements using the combination of the technologies.
So maybe we can do a quick kind of question here, right? So
I see Christoph is here.
I just had one quick question regarding smart caching, because actually you've got caching in Google as well. So it's an additional layer. What is the added value there?
So smart caching, it kind of depends, right? So you can actually cache on different levels. So what we can do, we can actually cache between the API and the legacy system, right? You can only cache after the API is there. So in many cases, you would like to reduce the load, for instance, on your mainframe. So mainframe pay by MIPS, right? So you're actually paying for micro instruction per second. What we can do is, instead of hammering the mainframe every time, we can actually use a cache in between, right? So when you do an API call to the mainframe, we're going to tell you, okay, this is information we know already, no need to go all the way to the mainframe. But I think the whole idea is not to overlap, right? If it's something you can do on your side, you can definitely do it, but we're more focusing on what is happening on the legacy side.
Okay, thank you.
But guys, I can see many people on the call. Who of you is kind of meeting legacy integration challenges in your daily work? Can you raise your hand? Your virtual hand, yeah?
No, I was talking by myself because I was mute, but I just wanted to add to Ori responses, because, for example, and this is the magic when Apigee or application integration or with OpenLegacy occurs, right? Because, for example, you go to the legacy system, bring the information to the, for example, the integration or for the API manager, and with using the policies of the API manager, that is going to be in the most high level way, drag and drop, and you can like catch that information using the API manager and the policies of the API manager itself. So we need to find, for example, this is a more from process view, when to erase that cache, or if something occurs, something changed in the legacy system, to delete that cache. That's pretty much process to have it. So that can be a solution for that.
Thank you.
The other question, for example, that I had for you was, once, for example, you put OpenLegacy and Apigee and application integration, which is the next step, for example, to make a kind of migration of the mainframe, or the legacy system? Because the next step of this is, for example, or one of the challenges of having this kind of technology is that when the time arrives, less and less people are sufficient and proficient in this technology. So this is pretty much my perspective. What I'm seeing as a people or persons from Apigee is that we can use really quickly OpenLegacy to have that kind of modernization. Meanwhile, you are modernizing the legacy system, but it can take years, right? So how do you see, or how in the field, in the reality, how is it?
Ori, would you like to address that?
Go ahead, Lian. I think that's yeah.
Okay, so basically using, let's say, a technology, a platform like OpenLegacy, you do not have to be a mainframe expert or an AS400 expert or anything like that, right? That's the first initial step, which is a great step, because then any type of developer can start using the OpenLegacy platform, actually talking the mainframe language, right? So if we were to equivalent it to, I don't know, like a Google Translate for that COBOL, right? Now you're working in Java or whatever language that you prefer to work. So that's taking one complexity out of the picture. But you are right, Luis. Long-term, I would say, aspiration of a lot of the organizations is to get rid of somehow completely of that legacy. And that would mean that they would actually reach out to your app mod team, if you were to think about it, and actually do like every other company does, which is a full-on transformation project. That would mean breaking the monolith, converting the code, refactoring, maybe buying a greenfield and migrating all the data there. It's really depending on what's the best strategy for the organization to get rid of that legacy. But during that process, we together can actually help accelerate, because we have already kind of broke the monolith to pieces anyway. And any API that we have generated together was pointing to, at one point, to the legacy. But now with the new, you need to point it to the new. That's all that you need to do. So basically you can keep all the innovation that you've done. And I hope that answered the question, but I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, I fully agree. So remember that we're talking about complex systems, and everything is happening step by step, right? It's happening domain by domain. It's happening by functional area by functional area. And that's mean you have to do something and you have to break it into pieces. You cannot do the whole thing in one go. And that's the whole idea about what we're doing OpenLegacy. You build the APIs you need. They're pointing at the old stuff. Afterwards, what you can do, you can point them in a new system, but the API consumers are still going to enjoy the same experience, same API contract, and so on and so forth. So in a way, it fits very well into a modernization strategy.
That's great. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about all of this approach. And as you said, the idea for this is to reduce the complexity of not knowing the legacy system, right? Because I can put me as an example. When people, a couple of years ago, when the people talk about mainframe or legacy system, AS400 or something like that, for me it was like a black box. I didn't know what they were talking about. I'm still not knowing, right? But at least know what they do, what these systems do, and at least I know how to handle or how to tackle a modernization strategy with them. So pretty interesting from my point of view, and this is something that a partnership that I'm really, really happy to have it. More than happy to have more discussion in the future. I don't know if somebody else in the audience has any kind of question. If not, we can close in the session. Before to close, anything else you want to add, Lian, Ori?
Just to say thank you, and it was a pleasure being here, and I hope the English pilot was successful. But if not, we can always do this same session in Spanish if you'd like. We'd be really happy to accommodate that. And yeah, it was really lovely meeting you all. What a great community. Amazing. Thank you so, so much.
Thank you for the time. Hopefully, we are going to have more sessions with you. The only commit that I want from your side is next time, or we can do a really a nice demo. It would be really useful to see it. But thank you for your time. I know that having this in summer is kind of difficult to be here. So for the audience, thanks for being here. It's really a pleasure to have you here. Thanks for being part of the first session in English.
I have a question. Christopher.
No,
And
it's
that person.
right? It's a comment, right?
Yes. A comment and one question, maybe. I think.
I didn't see.
And there was a demo request. There was a demo request. We will do a demo, Luis. Next time we will come to the demo. Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
It was
because
not-
we had a lot of promises regarding integration and mainframe.
you are so right. Why didn't we think about it? We showed you kind of the flow, but we actually didn't show you how it is in the product. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We owe you
No,
one. And Christoph, by all means, we can always schedule sometimes and show you everything. So don't be shy, right?
Okay, we will keep in touch. Thank you.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. Don't forget that this recording is going to be in the next couple of days in our YouTube channel. Having said that, I'm just sharing the link of the great session that we have with the product manager, Shelly, that she's the product manager for our advanced API security product that we have in Apigee. So we have a nice talk with her, and here is the interview that we have with her. This is the second English topic that we have in this community. So the idea is to have more product managers, more interviews. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the time. See you next time.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you very much.
everybody.
Bye.